Description: I, a 24-year-old female, work in the event industry and travel extensively for work. Over the past 4 days, I was in a different city organizing a major event from scratch. Long story short, I only got 3 hours of sleep each day, but everything went very well. On the 5th day, as I was on my way to the airport to return home, I started feeling unwell. My vision became blurry and I had constant headaches. At one point, I felt like I just wanted to lay on the floor. Despite this, I managed to make it to the airport in a hurry, only to find out that my flight was delayed by 4 hours. I collapsed in the waiting area and my health continued to deteriorate. When I finally boarded the flight, I had a high fever, a bleeding nose, I don't know why, and blurry vision. Upon landing in my city at around 12 a.m., I went to the waiting lounge of the airport to gather myself and regain some energy before heading home. My house is 2 hours away from the airport by road, and I usually take a cab. However, the cab drivers in my area are not always the safest, and the route to my home is notorious for being unsafe, especially late at night. After an hour of trying to feel better, I messaged my boyfriend, who I've been dating for 4 years and is 27 years old, to let him know what was happening to me. I tried 4 times to get up and walk with my luggage, but each time I tried, I fell. It was as if my body gave out after the exhaustion of the past 4 days. When I explained everything to him, he wanted constant text updates from me. However, due to my severe headache and blurry vision, I couldn't type much. My boyfriend lives 30 minutes away from the airport. Throughout our entire relationship, I have never asked him to pick me up or inconvenience himself because of my problems. However, that night, I had a feeling that something terrible might happen to me, so I decided to call him. Before I could ask for help, he immediately responded, "If I had a car, I would come to you." His car was being repaired, but earlier that day, he had taken cabs to different parts of town for a party and work, much farther than the airport. Since he had already implied that he couldn't come, I didn't push the issue any further and simply hung up. He continued to badger me for text updates, but I was unable to type much due to my condition. Around 2:30 a.m., which was after a couple of hours, I saw a group of college students nearby. I called out to them and asked for help. They were very kind and assisted me by helping me up, carrying my luggage, and getting me a cab. I somehow managed to get home by 5:15 a.m., even though the cab ride was very uncomfortable. The next day, when I told my boyfriend that his not coming to help me made me upset, he called me twisted and crazy for expecting him to come help on a Sunday night when he had work at 10 a.m. on Monday, even though his workplace is only 25 minutes away from his house. I didn't say anything else in response. Other approaches to this topic could include discussing the importance of communication and support within relationships, exploring expectations and boundaries in relationships, or considering the impact of personal circumstances on one's ability to offer assistance. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Oh no, you texted him at 1 a.m. and he needed to get to work 9 hours later. Haha. He could have taken a taxi, picked you up, and driven you to his place. 1 hour, you weren't worth 1 hour of his time. If you can't count on your partner in such a situation, just break up. He is just your boyfriend when it is comfortable. My significant other brought me to the hospital at 2 a.m., stayed with me until 10 a.m., didn't sleep, even though he needed to work 4 hours later, because you do this in an emergency situation. You can be lucky that nothing worse happened to you. And he cared more to get a cozy 8 hours of sleep. Comment 2, this would be a deal breaker for me. You needed him. Anything could have happened to you. If he can get a cab to a party, then he can get a cab to help his sick girlfriend. I think you know deep down that you need to end things. He has shown you his priorities, and it's clearly not you. As if what he did or didn't do technically isn't bad enough. He is now literally gaslighting you. Calling you crazy is the definition of gaslighting. Leave his butt in the dust. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So, after that whole airport fiasco, things just spiraled. I was home, right, trying to recover from the worst trip ever. And my phone starts blowing up. It's my boss. Apparently, I made a huge mistake with the event paperwork. I mixed up the dates for the next event, and now everything's a mess. The vendors are all booked for the wrong day, and we might lose a ton of money if we can't fix it. I'm freaking out, trying to sort this out from my bed, still feeling like death warmed up. My boyfriend, let's call him Mr. Too Busy, keeps texting, asking if I'm feeling better. I'm too mad to even reply. I mean, where was he when I needed him, right? Anyway, I'm on the phone with vendors, apologizing left and right, when my neighbor knocks. She's this older lady, always keeping an eye out. She heard I was sick and brought over some soup. It was a small thing, but it meant a lot, considering Mr. Too Busy couldn't even grab a cab to help me out. The next day, I'm back at work, still not 100%, but I had to face the music. My boss is surprisingly understanding about the mix-up. Turns out, he's made similar mistakes when he was starting out. We spent the whole day on calls, smoothing things over with the vendors. Most of them were cool about it, but a few were really tough to convince. Now here's where it gets messy. Mr. Too Busy shows up at my office with flowers and lunch. He's all apologies, saying he should have been there for me. But I'm not having it. I tell him it's too late for sorry and that I needed him to show up when it actually mattered. He gets all defensive, saying I'm overreacting and that I don't appreciate him. That's when I lost it. I told him about my neighbor, how she managed to show more care with a bowl of soup than he did with a bunch of texts. He didn't take that well. He stormed out and I haven't heard from him since. Work's been my refuge, honestly. My boss and I managed to get everything back on track for the next event. It was close, but we did it. And the team, they've been great, covering for me while I was out and helping fix my mistake. But it's not all bad. Yesterday, I got a call from one of the vendors I messed up with. He was impressed with how I handled the situation and offered me a discount on future events. It's a big deal. Could save us a lot of money down the line. So I'm sitting here, reflecting on the past few days. It's been pretty tough, but I've learned a lot about who's really there for me, about owning up to my mistakes, and about not letting the bad stuff keep me down. Thanks for reading. My female friend used me as a pawn in her love games, but when she asked me to be her man of honor, I exposed her secrets at the altar and watched her world crumble. This happened 2 years ago. One of my friends, female, 20 years old at that time, texted me, male, 21 years old at that time, saying that she broke up with her boyfriend and was feeling very lonely and sad and wanted me to come over that night to cuddle and watch some movies with her. It was very clear what she was talking about. To give some more context, I had no intimacy experience at that time, so someone asking me to come over at night wasn't an offer I received often, and there had not been anything between us that could indicate a possibility of us having any kind of intimacy interaction. So that message from her was out of the blue. I've never faked a friendship for the sake of getting into someone's pants, but having intimacy with a friend is not a taboo for me either. Plus, lacking intimacy interactions. Reading those messages from an attractive friend wasn't something that didn't affect me, to put it mildly. Plus, the fact that I'm a huge people pleaser and turning someone down is always a big challenge for me, especially a friend. But despite that, I tried my best to stay as rational as possible. I don't know how to express this enough when I say that I stressed myself out finding words to turn her down while not hurting her in any way. To put it briefly, I explained to her that I wasn't going to do it since she was just in grief over a breakup and wasn't thinking straight. After about 10-15 minutes of chatting, she finally broke character. Turned out, her boyfriend and her had an argument about male-female friendship. And to prove her point that I wasn't her friend just for the sake of sleeping with her, she made up that act. I was in total shock while reading that. I didn't know what to say, I just knew I wouldn't say anything nice. So after a few minutes of silence, I just told her I had to get back to work. So only after a few hours or few days, don't remember, was when I got my senses back and started to get very, very angry. I don't know exactly what I felt. I felt like I've been used, played with my emotions just for the sake of proving a point. I haven't put my anger on her. I just swallowed it. But over time, I realized that something had been broken between us. It felt like I couldn't trust her anymore. Still feels like it. I haven't gotten cold towards her when we talk, but I rarely ever initiate talking. I don't hate her, but that's something that she broke. I don't know if it's even fixable. She obviously noticed my distancing from her. We rarely talk now, once every few months maybe. She scolds me for not being her friend anymore. I'm sure she doesn't even know the reason why. We have never talked about it since that day. I don't know if I should explain everything to her or leave it as it is. I'm not even sure if my emotions are rational in this case. Have I overreacted? Should I try to fix our relationship? I'm sure she doesn't even realize how bad her little test felt for me. But still, what's the point of trying to fix things with someone who acts so carelessly? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You should explain it to her. It's wrong to test you because they wanted to test your intention. What if you just want to be a friend and go to support her? So you'll say, yes, I'll come over. And they interpreted it as you are making a move. So you should definitely tell her that the test was manipulative and distrustful of you. Therefore, you just don't know how to see her as a friend now. Comment 2. Absolutely explain your reaction. 1, because you made the right call, regardless of her intentions. 2, because she needs to know she did something wrong. Right now, from her viewpoint, it kind of looks like you're mad that you didn't get to sleep with her. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for this update. Just when I thought things couldn't get more twisted, they did. Remember my friend who used me as a pawn in her relationship game? Well, she's back at it. But this time, she took it to a whole new level. She got engaged to the same guy she tried to make jealous with me. And guess who she asked to be her man of honor? Me. Yeah, you read that right. I was floored. After all the distance, the coldness, and the broken trust, she still thought I'd stand by her side on her big day. It was like a slap in the face, a reminder of how she played with my feelings. But that's not even the half of it. A week before the wedding, she came to me crying, saying she made a huge mistake. She didn't love him. She loved me. I couldn't believe it. After everything, she was doing this now? It felt like another one of her games, and I was the pawn once again. But I'm a people pleaser, remember? So I did the unthinkable. I helped her call off the wedding. It was a mess. Her family, his family, everyone was in shock. And there I was, in the middle of it all, feeling like the world's biggest fool. The aftermath was brutal. Her ex-fiancé was out for blood. He spread rumors about us, saying we'd been having an affair all along. It wasn't true, but try telling that to our circle of friends who looked at me like I was some home wrecker. I lost friends, respect, and a whole lot of sleep over it. And just when I thought I'd hit rock bottom, she dropped another surprise. She was moving across the country for a fresh start. Alone, she thanked me for everything and left, just like that. No explanation, no apology, nothing. She just left me there, picking up the pieces of the chaos she'd caused. I was angry, hurt, and confused. But then, in a moment of weakness, I forgave her. I told her I understood, that I hoped she found happiness. Why? Maybe because I couldn't stand the thought of holding onto the anger. Or maybe because I was desperate to cling to the remnants of our friendship. Either way, I came off looking weak. Now I'm left here, in the same town with the same people who whisper behind my back. I'm the guy who helped break up an engagement and then got left behind. It's like I'm living in some twisted soap opera where the plot just keeps getting more ridiculous. But you know what? I'm learning from it. I'm learning that some people don't change, that I can't please everyone, and that sometimes you have to let go no matter how much it hurts. Thanks for reading this mess of an update. My partner left me and our kids because of my postpartum anxiety. So I took him to court and won full custody, plus child support while he spiraled down alone. He has been gone for 6 weeks now, and our daughter is broken. I am an exhausted shell of a human. He is bipolar and love avoidant, possibly narcissistic too. I was diagnosed with PTSD and postpartum anxiety after nearly dying in birth, and he was under the impression I would bounce back immediately after having the twins. My healing journey took longer than he expected. In January, he wrote me a loving note with a list of 33 things I needed to do to regulate before reaching out to him for help. Around this time, the new pregnancy happened, making me a little more hormonal, forgetful, and clingy. He asked for space, and due to the potential ectopic pregnancy, our doctors and I begged him to stay, which drove him farther away. Time keeps going on, and no matter how calm and loving I am, his anger and rage towards me continues to build. I have always taken accountability for my actions and have been doing all types of healing to try and fast-track my recovery ever since the babies were 4 weeks old. But sadly, he still says he doesn't feel safe with me, and he can't be in our family home. I never meant to withhold information or to have too intense of needs, boundaries, and emotions. It's so hard to not get stuck in the loop of wishing I could have been less emotional and needy, and he would still be here. My daily routine before him leaving was wake up, cook breakfast, and pack lunch for kids and partner, have family breakfast, take daughter to school, take care of twins. 1 free hour a day would go to some type of therapy, school pickups, cook dinner, family dinner, run partner a bath time, story time with kids. Then give my partner a massage and be intimate before we fell asleep watching a movie. Or work at night so I could continue to cover some family expenses. I know I was emotional at times, more reactionary, but I truly feel like I did everything I could as a mom and as a partner. I do know I could have been less foggy and more direct, but I think that was due to the PTSD. Before he left, he demanded I go away for treatment and to get an assessment. I compromised by staying firm and wanting to stay home, continue my work with the new therapy team, and most importantly, the caretaking routine of the kids. So I got an assessment and additional support locally. We all told him that these things take time. He also accused me of having BPD, which I think is only because he projects his borderline mom onto me and has deep issues around his relationship with his mom and dad. But the screenings from multiple providers came back for postpartum anxiety and PTSD from birth trauma. He was still so upset with me, and weeks later left out of the blue. I am so shell-shocked by this and truly did everything I could to be the best person I could be for my family. How can I move on? Do I give up on him? I thought we were going to spend forever together. Even the day before he left, he wrote me a love letter. But his behavior and hate towards me continues to spiral, and he has yet to acknowledge the pregnancy. Any advice is so appreciated as my exhausted self cannot comprehend this cruelty, and so badly wants to move on in the best interest of our kids. Thank you. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. What am I reading? OP, you need therapy. You need to know that you don't need more burden in your life. This post will only make your life worse, let alone bring you peace. Your kids need to learn that this is not a family. Shtia like this is unacceptable in the family and is toxic. He's 54, a lost cause, and he never wants to be a father or a husband. He just wants the benefits of it and how you can serve him. If things don't go the way he wants or are less than unrealistic perfection, he's going to punish you and make you feel like you're in the wrong. Oh no. Comment 2. I love that he claims he doesn't feel safe with you, but somehow felt comfortable leaving you to care for 3 children alone while pregnant. This is a him problem. If he really didn't feel safe, he wouldn't have left without the kids. He is making up excuses to blame you. Find a lawyer and get rid of this walking red flag. Now for the update. Thank you for sticking with me on this. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Just when I thought things couldn't get more complicated, they did. The twins have been sick, running fevers and crying through the night. I'm running on fumes, trying to keep up with their needs and our daughter's school routine. She's been asking about him every day, and it breaks my heart to see her so confused and hurt. I've been trying to reach out to him to at least talk about the kids, but he's not responding. It's like he's vanished off the face of the earth. My friends say I should consider legal action, but the thought of dragging the kids through a custody battle terrifies me. I'm already struggling to keep it together. I can't imagine adding court dates and lawyers to the mix. In the midst of all this, I got a call from his sister. She said he's been staying with her and that he's not doing well. He's been having episodes, she said, and she's worried about him. It's a strange feeling, worrying about the person who's causing you so much pain. But I can't help it. I remember the good times, the way he used to make me laugh, the promises we made to each other. It's hard to reconcile that man with the one who left us. I've been seeing a therapist, trying to work through my own issues. She says I need to focus on myself and the kids, that I can't control his actions or his health. It's sound advice, but it's hard to accept. I keep thinking if I just say the right thing, do the right thing, he'll come back and we can be a family again. Then, yesterday, something happened that I still can't quite believe. I was at the grocery store, the twins in the cart and our daughter by my side, when I saw him. He was at the other end of the aisle, and for a moment our eyes met. I could see the recognition, the conflict in his gaze. But then he turned and walked away. I was frozen, the kids tugging at my sleeve, asking if that was Daddy. By the time I gathered myself to go after him, he was gone. I came home feeling defeated, wondering if I should just let go. But then, as I was putting the kids to bed, our daughter said something that hit me like a ton of bricks. "Mommy," she said, "I miss Daddy, but I'm glad you're here." It was a simple statement, but it made me realize that I'm not alone. I have these beautiful kids who need me, who love me, no matter what. So I've made a decision. I'm going to start the process of formalizing custody. It's not what I wanted, but I have to think about the kids' stability and future. I'm also going to keep working on myself to be the best mom I can be with or without him. It's not the update I hoped to give you, but it's where we are. Life is messy and hard, but we're getting through it one day at a time. Thank you for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.